So I'm hopeful that within the hour, I have to finish what we are going to do today. Okay. So let's start. Limiting factors. So let's go. Limiting factors. We are learning that the factors which basically will be part of the production, right? Which the organization will use for production. Some may be limited. In other words, some may be limited, or like let's say it can be a scarce resource, right? And in such a case, we would have to allocate it wisely in order for us to be able to use it to make production or to meet the management's objectives. So basically, that is what we are going to work with, dealing with limiting factors. So whenever we are given a question, the first attempt we do, with the first attempts we will make or take is to first identify a limiting factor. So limiting factor talks about what is called constraints. Constraints. Okay. We can also say it's bottleneck. Right. So because of that, we are unable to, or the organization is unable to achieve some optimal performance. Okay. So in our ability to solve, or as we about to solve the question, the first attempt is we would identify what a bottleneck is or what the limiting factor is. Now, the limiting factor is like part, as I said, part of the items of production. Some may be limited. So it could be that materials are limited. So if materials are limited, that's what you are going to apportion. If it could be that labor hours will be limited, that will be the resource constraint, right? It could be that there is so, but mostly the concentration on the limiting factors or the resources which are limited, which we are constrained to not to use more than we have, are materials and labor. Mostly they'll be between those two. Okay, so let's start solving. Now we are going to follow some steps like we did yesterday. We're going to follow some few steps to solve for the limiting factors. So as the limiting factors are, let me say, insufficient materials, labor, which we have. It could be any of them. So we must first identify the bottleneck or identify the limiting factor. That is the resource which is limited. Based on what we want to produce is more, but what is available is less. So what is available is less, but what we want to produce is more. So we have to ensure we economically utilize that scarce resource or that bottleneck we have. Two, we will calculate the contribution per limiting factor. Contribution, I'll finish it soon. I want you guys to cope quickly. Limiting factor. So we'll be meeting around that times, and so we can help you guys to go and prepare for that. Prepare a production plan. Oh, sorry. We'll prepare before we do this. Oh, number two. Hold on. Number three is we'll have to ranking. We have to rank. Okay, we'll do ranking. So rank the products.
Please, the first one, you said calculate costs. Is it constraint production per factor one?
Calculate the contribution per limiting factor.
Okay.
Rank products based on the three, on the contribution per limiting factor. 4, we'll prepare a production plan. Prepare a production plan. 5, we'll prepare profit statements. Prepare a profit statement. So please, it might be many, but ensure you solve them. You can solve it. The main thing is the comprehension. In exams, you may not be able to finish everything because of the time. If a question from here should emerge, but you should be able to do, in fact, you should be able to even do 1 to 5, and you should even have the answers correct. That is better than you not attempting it at all. So always you find a constraint. Which of the resources are insufficient? Sometimes the question will tell you that the business has this limited number of, the business is constrained to use this number of, although in the main question, from the production plan, or in the main question, the business, if you even look at the resource they are talking about, the business wants to use more resources, but then, for the production, but then it would indicate as part of the footnotes that it is limited. Although it wants to use more, it is limited to this number of resources. So that's what you have to first identify. Then 2, you find a contribution per limiting factor. How do we find contribution? Contribution in marginal costing simply talks about the fact that the business must have, so contribution is the business must have the selling price minus the variable cost or marginal cost. So we have to compute the variable cost minus marginal cost. Then we have rank the product based on the contribution per limiting factor. Yesterday, we were talking about variable cost per unit, what it means. So today we are going to meet most of them, the contribution per limiting factor. Then we prepare a production plan, we prepare a profit statement. Any question? Any question? All right, someone should read it for us. So when reading, mostly I like to start from the requirements. Why? If we get to know the requirements, then we will know what you are going to do. For me, I always like reading requirements. When you read a requirement, if you have to prepare certain data down or certain leaks down or leads down, which can guide you into the question, fine. So let's read. Who is reading? Someone should read for us.
Required. Determine the number of liters of liquids A, B, C, and D to be produced and sold in the next 3 months in order to maximize profits. 2. Calculate the profit
finish.
that is.
You didn't finish the I. You didn't finish reading.
I printed it out, so that's what I have. Okay, I've seen it.
Okay.
Giving the contract with company Y, determine the number of liters of liquids A, B, C, and D to be produced and sold in the next 3 months in order to maximize profit. If the maximum number of labor hours remain 1,345 hours for the period. 2. Calculate the profit that this would yield.
Okay. So now it says now we could see we have this we have what's the name? We have the limiting factor in here. If the maximum number of hours remain 1350 for the period. So that's the limiting factor. Meaning the limiting factor is labor hours. Labor hours is the limiting factor. If the maximum number of labor hours remain 1,345 hours for the period, that's the limiting factor. Then as you calculate the profit that this would yield. So you must first identify the limiting factor. And here the limiting factor is labor hours. All right. So now let's go to the main data. All right. So let's start reading. Madam, read.
Company X manufactures 4 liquids, A, B, C, and D. The selling price and unit cost details for these products are as follows. Liquid A, B, C, and D. The selling price per liter is 100 for A, 110 for B, 120 for C, 120 for D. Then the cost. Direct materials for A 24, B 30, C 16, D 21. Then the direct labor hours per hour 18 for A, 15 for B, C 24, D 27. Then direct expenses. A has 0, B has 0, C has 3, D has 0. Then variable overheads. Liquid A 12, B 10, C 16, D 18. Then fixed overhead. Liquid A 24, B 20, C 32, D 36. Total cost per liter. A 78, B 75, C 91, D 102. Then profit per liter. Liquid A 22, B 35, C 29, D 18. Then the note. Fixed overhead is absorbed on the basis of labor hours based on a budget of 1,600 hours per quarter, which is 3 months. During the next 3 months, the number of direct labor hours is expected to be limited to 1,345 hours. The same labor is used for all products. The marketing director has identified the maximum demand for each of the 4 products during the next 3 months as follows. Liquid A 200 liters, liquid B 150 liters, liquid C 100 liters, liquid D 120 liters. No inventories are held at the beginning of the period that could be used to satisfy demand in the period. I. Required. Given the contract with Company Y, determine the number of liters of liquids A, B, C, and D to be produced and sold in the next 3 months in order to maximize profit. If the maximum number of labor hours remain 1,345 hours for the period. 2. Calculate the profit that this would yield.
Okay, that's fine. Let's start. Have some of your friends joined, or we are still the same?
Yeah, still the same.
All right, let's go. So the first step is we identify the limiting factor. So to identify the limiting factor, what you must first do is we will bring the products. What products are we dealing with? liquid A, right? Liquid
Yes.
B, liquid C. Then we have liquid D. Then we go to the units, right? We go to the units. So the marketing director has identified the maximum demand for each of the 4 products during the next 3 months as follows. We have 200, we have 150, we have 100, we have 120. Very good. Now we want to, this is the number they want to produce, the maximum demand. But then we first identify that the resource which is limited is labor hours. And because it's labor hours, we want to know how many labor hours, because it's a limiting factor, we want to know how many labor hours can be apportioned to this data. Or what is the total labor hours for this production unit? And out of this total, how many do we have available to use to produce this maximum demand? Then if what is needed, or if what is available against what is needed, there are variances, then we find whether there's a shortage or deficit. Are you getting it? Now, if we find that there is a shortage, what is needed to produce this, what is required to produce this, the labor hours are more than what is needed, then it means there will be a shortage. So if you are having 1, 3, 4, 5 hours, and we need, let's say, or we require, let's say, 2,000 hours, it means that there's a difference, there's a shortage, meaning what we have is less than what we need to produce. So since what we have is less, we have to make use of what we have. Then we'll share these hours to the, what's the name? To the production. That's what we are basically trying to do. We will first identify the limiting factor. It could be material, it could be labor, or whatever. But here in this question, it is labor hours. That's what they said. During the next, the note, the second paragraph after the note 1, during the next 3 months, the number of direct labor hours is expected to be limited to 1,000, limited to, so that's our limiting factor, is labor hours. And in the next 3 months, the business has made these projections of maximum demand or production of liquid of 200 limiters, B 150, C 100, D 120. So for the next 3 months, these are the projections for maximum demand. At the same time, for the next 3 months, all the resources we have will be limited to 1,345 hours for labor. So it means labor is the limiting factor. So now we come here. First, we have to find the maximum. Having identified the limited hours we have, we have to know how many hours that will actually be needed to produce all this number of units for the product. Now we go with labor hour, labor per unit, or labor hour per unit. Okay, labor hour per unit. Now let's go at our labor hour. It says that we need labor hour per unit, but in the question, the question says direct labor hour 6 cedis per hour. 6 cedis per hour. Now we need the labor hour per unit, but the question has rather given us 6 cedis per hour. It's converted everything into money, every figure here into monetary value. So we could see here, all these figures are in cedis. So it needs 6 cedis per hour, but then we are having 18 cedis. So the question is, how can we reduce it? What number of hours are needed to produce 1 unit? That's what we need. So we don't need the 18 cedis. We don't need the 15 for each, 24, 27 for respectively product A, B, C, D. We don't need that. We need a number of hours. I get it, because we want to multiply the hours needed to produce 1 unit of liquid A. Then when we multiply by 600, we'll find the total labor hours. So we need total labor hours here. Total labor hours. Because we want to know how many hours which are required to produce all these products liquid A to D. Then we'll compare it against what we have or what we will have in 3 months. Then we'll find a difference. So for us to find the hours, as I said, what's in the question are figures, are monetary values. How do we know? You could see Ghana cedis here. Ghana cedis at the top. So it means those figures are all in cedis. The 18, 15, 24, 25, they are all in cedis. So we need to find the labor hours required for liquid A. So I'll come down and say workings. I'll say workings here. So the workings, I'm working on labor hours. That is the workings. So when I pick A, liquid B, liquid C, liquid D, the question is, let me do some simple ratio and proportion. It says it's 1 cedi per hour. So if it is 1 cedi equals 1 hour, then if I'm having 18 cedis, how many hours is for 18 cedis? Sorry. If it is 6 cedis equals 1 hour, and I'm having 18 cedis, how many hours is 18 cedis? That's what I can get the number of hours required to produce A. This is for A. So what the solution will become 18. So it's going to be, I'll cross multiply. So I'm going to have 6x here equals what? 18. So x will be equal to what? 18 over 6, which will give me 3. Do you agree?
Yes.
So it's 3 hours. So it means that 3 labor hours are required for what's the name? Liquid A. So because I've seen that the A, I have to divide the 18 by the 6 to get the liquid A. Simply, I can go, because I'm working with time, I can just go. So maybe for the liquid A, I did it for that one. So I can say that liquid A. For me to get the actual labor hours, it will be, let labor hours here be X. So it's going to be 18 over 6, which will give me 3 labor hours, right? Then liquid B is going to be 15 over 6. Liquid C is going to be 24 over 6. Liquid D is going to be 27 over 6. Do you get it? Hello, do you understand it?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So 18 over 6 is what? 3. So I'll go into my data above and I'll put my 3 there. Now it means for labor A, 3 labor hours are required for producing 1 unit. 1 unit. Because when I picked direct labor hours, I need, how do I get direct labor hours? Which 2 factors affect it? It is hours times the wage. Wage is paid per hour. So if the wage is 6 cedis per hour, how many hours are required for product A? 3 hours. So what will be the direct labor cost? It will be 18 cedis. That's how they got it. So like yesterday when we were learning, we learned that 6 cedis per hour means 6 cedis over 1 hour. And I have to multiply it by something, a figure. I have to multiply it by a certain figure to get the actual cost. So this is how the whole thing is. It's 6 cedis per hour times a certain number to give us 18. So what figure do we multiply it by to get 18? That figure must have hours as well. We learned it yesterday, cost driver. So it should be 3. So that this R will cancel that R. 3 times 6, 18. That's another method we can use. So that's another method we can use. So what will be for liquid B? What is the value for liquid B?
Liquid B 2.5.
2.5. C.
4.
D.
4.5.
So you have to show working. Everything you do, you have to show working. So this is 2.5 in the table. This is 4. This is 4.5. So now we will multiply. We will multiply 3 hours by 200 units. What do we have?
600.
So it means the liquid A, the business requires 600 or needs 600 hours to 600 hours to produce 200 units. Liquid B,
375.
liquid C,
400.
liquid D,
540.
40.
The total will give us what is called required. That is what is needed to produce this maximum number of units in the next 3 months. Yes, what do we have?
1915.
1915.
1915. This is what the business needs. So how many hours are available? What do we have now? The question says we have 1, 3, 4, 5. So the difference, how many more do we need? Or what is the difference?
The difference is
570. 570.
So the 570, we need 1,915. But what is available is 1345. So what name do we give to the 570?
It's a shortage.
We can say it's a shortage or deficit, which is R minus A. R is the required. Then we subtracted the available from it, A. So 570 is the shortage. It means that that's the 1,345 we will need in 3 months' time, or the business will need in 3 months' time. It cannot produce the number of units the business has planned or projected, right? So we have to first find the contribution per unit. Then contribution per unit is to find out how much revenue, how much profits will each of the products produce or generate for the business. And based on their profit levels, we will rank them in order of priority or in order of importance. Because if liquid A is giving me more profits, liquid C is the second to give me more profits. It doesn't necessarily mean I should go and produce liquid D, which is giving me the lowest profits. No, I have to produce the one to give me the highest of profits first before I go and do. So if I'm sharing the hours, the one with the least will take the lowest number of hours. That's what we are trying to do. So first, you identify the limiting factor, right? The limiting factor and the shortage. Let's say, and the shortage. Always you have a shortage, or in most cases, you're going to have a shortage because the available will be less than the required. That is why, because that's a constraint, that's a bottleneck. Okay, any question before we move on to step 2?
no, please.
All right. Step 2. It said, what's the step 2?
Step 2.
We find the contribution.
Contribution per unit.
Step
What is
limiting.
contribution? Contribution simply means the selling price minus the variable cost or marginal cost. So already in the question, they've given us the selling price. There are several ways you can solve this. In the question, they've already given us the selling price, right? So Yeah, there are several ways you can solve this. I only use two methods here. So let's look at the way to go. Let's find the selling price. So liquid A. So liquid A, liquid B, liquid C, liquid D. And I'll bring in my Ghana city signs for all of them. So 1. You remember contribution is saying selling price minus marginal cost. Okay. So I'll first begin with my selling price. What is the selling price? Now, the difference between selling price and selling price is per unit for 1, mostly. Sales is for volume, more quantities. So when you see selling price, it's for 1 unit, a single unit. For 1, how much is it? But if it's a lot, we call it sales. So take note of that. We'll be needing it when we are solving some other questions. It's the same with cost price. Cost price is for 1. Cost of sales is for volume. Cost price is for 1. Cost of sales is for volume. Selling price is for 1. Sales is for volume. All right. So we have 100 here. Then we have 110 here. Then we have 120 there. Then we have also 120. That's it. So this is our selling price. Very easy to obtain. Now what do? We will say less variable cost or marginal cost. Variable cost, we learned yesterday, is saying that the cost varies with output. So all the cost data written there, which of them can change when the number quantity changes? It's the same as marginal cost. Marginal cost is saying the cost when we add one more. So if I have 1 kilogram of material, they say 1 kilogram of material is costing 24 cedis. If I add one more kilogram of material, will the cost still be 24 cedis? No, it will be 48. So it means material is also a marginal cost. It can change when the quantity changes. So that's what I'm saying. It is less marginal or variable cost. So take note of that. They are used interchangeably because they all change. The cost change when the activity or when the quantity changes. Okay. So we go on to this. We say less marginal cost, but this less marginal cost, in the data, we have marginal cost elements in the data. For example, materials will change when the activity level changes. Labor will change when the number increases. Direct expenses will also change when the number increases, right? And these direct materials to the direct expense, they are called prime costs. Prime cost or direct cost. Those three are called prime cost or direct cost. Variable overhead, the name variable, it will also change when the activity level changes. But the fixed overhead, it doesn't change regardless of activity level. It doesn't change regardless of activity level. Therefore, what we'll do is we'll copy all these three guys here, all the three elements here, in addition to with their corresponding values, and paste them right under the less variable cost, because those 4 make up the variable cost. Always those 4 make up the variable or marginal cost. So I'll copy and paste them here. So I'll have DM for direct material, DL not for Daddy Lumba but for direct labor hours, DEXP for direct expense, then variable overhead. So what do? Direct material is 24. So I'm writing the figures just as in the question, or just as they are in the question. 24, 30, 16, 21. Then we have 18, 15, 24, 27. Then we have 0. We have 10. We have another 0. We have 3. and we have 0. Then the variable overhead. So these three, the total of these three for each product is called prime cost or direct cost. Then we have the variable overhead to be 12, 10, 16, 18. So I'm to find the less variable cost or margin. So I have to find the marginal cost. So I'll add from the direct material to the variable overhead. What will be the total? So 24, 18, 0, 12. 18 plus 12 is 30. The first one is 54. 10 plus 15 is 25. The second one is 55.
55.
16, 24 is 40. 43, 59.
59. And 66.
66. Now, in the formula, it says selling price minus variable cost, meaning the variable cost is negative. So I'll put all this in brackets or in brace brackets. So it means the variable costs are negative. So I found the variable cost or the marginal cost. It's negative. So I've made them negative. Then I'll subtract the variable costs. So these are the variable costs or the marginal costs. I'll subtract them from the selling price. So the first one, the contribution says is the selling price minus the variable cost.
That will be 46. 55.
61. 61. And 54.
What is the third step?
The per unit. To get the per unit.
So this is per unit. Why is it per unit? Because the figures in the question are all per unit. The data. Selling price is 100 cedis per liter. Per liter. Per liter means per unit. Then the B is also 110 per liter. 120 per liter. So the unit of measurement of this product is liter. So they could have said 100 cedis. Have you seen at the top they've written the liquidity? They've written 100 cedis per liter. So the specific unit is liter. The specific unit, so it could be 100 cedis per unit. But when you say unit, it represents so many things. Which particular unit of measurement are we talking about? It is liter. So it is already in per unit. So contribution per unit is that we found a contribution here. The next thing for us to do is so this is contribution per unit for each one. So it is 46 cedis on liquid A, 55 on liquid B, 61 on liquid C, and 54 on liquid D. Are you good?
Yes.
Good. And the next one is contribution per limiting factor. Is that the next step?
Yes.
So just not for us to waste time, I have found a contribution per unit. I can add a step 3 here. Contribution per limiting factor. So I can add a third step just for us not to waste time. Otherwise, I would have to draw another table and bring in the contribution. I'll do that for you to also see. So as I said, this selling price you're having, there are two methods I can solve it. This contribution per unit, there are two methods I can solve it. Now look here. Let's look at what we have here. So we see that we have profits per liter, right? Now in cost accounting, if we find a profit in cost accounting or management accounting, it means that the profit figure was gotten as a result of selling price minus what is called absorption costing. So when I find selling price minus absorption costing, the final figure will give me the profit per unit. If it is gross, then I'll say sales minus total absorption cost will give me gross profit. Now, so if selling price minus cost absorption costing gives me profit, what is the difference between absorption costing and marginal costing? The difference between, so let me give an example. The 78 you are seeing, 75, 91, 102, that's total cost per unit. It is total absorption cost per liter. Total absorption costing. And from the data we have on the left, where did the marginal cost component end?
It ended at variable overhead.
So it ended here. So it ended at a variable overhead, meaning from direct cost to variable overhead is the marginal cost. And the last one, the total cost, is absorption costing. So now, what is the difference between absorption costing and marginal cost?
Is the fixed cost component.
Very well. So the difference is the fixed cost component. So the difference is the fixed cost component. That's the difference between the absorption costing and marginal costing. The difference is the fixed cost component. So now, on the left, I'm writing on the left, I'm using red. If the costs, I'm using cost of A, liquid A. If the cost of liquid A is 78, right? Or if the profit for liquid A is 22, I getting it? It's 22. What did they do to the profit? Because the contribution ends at 12, right? What did they do to the profit? Or what did they do to the contribution? Before, our contribution here is for 46. So what did they do? What do you think was done to the contribution? Or let me put it this way. Our marginal cost is 54. What do you think they did to the marginal cost before they got a profit of 22?
They added the fixed cost.
They added the fixed cost and they got 78. And they took everything from the selling price. So now if our profit per liter is 22, and so we are going back. Our profit per liter is 22. What we can also do is we can add back the fixed cost to the profit to give us the contribution. So 22 plus 24, right? Because the only difference is that they took out 24 from it. So if the profit is 22. The profit is 22. The profit is 22. We can add back the first cost, which was taken out. It must give us a contribution of what? 46 for A. Is that correct?
Come again.
Is that correct? If the profit for A is 22, what is the difference between the marginal cost and the absorption cost? Is a fixed overhead. So it means the profit of 22, they must have also subtracted the fixed overhead to get a profit of 22. So for us to go back to the contribution, we can add the 24 which they subtracted to get the 22 back to the 22 to give us the contribution. So the profit of 22, we will add 24 to it to give us a contribution of 46. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because it's okay, yes.
Now the profit of 35 for B. If we add the 20, it will give us a contribution. Is that correct?
Yes.
the profit of 29 for C. If we add back the 32, it should give us a contribution of 61. Is that correct?
Yeah.
The profit of 18 for D. If we add back the fixed cost of 36, it should give us a contribution of 54. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So you can go by that method as well. The profit, or there's another method also, but let's stick to these two. There's another method which can give it to us, which can give us the value. So now we found a profit per unit. The next step is we find a contribution per limiting factor. So as I said, we can add it in here and just move on straight because of time. We can add it here. All that the question didn't ask us to find contribution per limiting factor. It's saying we should find how many will be produced, whatever. That's what the question is saying we should find. So let's move on. So I can add that third step here. But to find contribution, pay attention. To find contribution per limiting factor. What do you think should be done? Per limiting factor. So contribution per limiting factor. What do you think we should find? I want to see whether you are getting the concepts.
That would be cost.
No, just hold on. Tell me what you think. That I want your views on that. You are finding contribution per limiting factor. What does it mean?
It means we are finding it for per liter.
What for per liter?
The limiting factor, which is labor, for one unit of liquid.
When I say 2 cedis per liter, what does it mean? When I say cost per liter, what does it mean?
Means
What's that way? Come again.
One. We are calculating it on one product.
Okay. So when I write 2 cedis per liter, what does it mean?
Means 2 cedis per one.
So it simply means for every 1 liter, it is 2 cedis. Is that correct?
Yes.
So when I say costs per liter, what does it mean?
Meaning you want to find the price for 1 liter.
Good. So if I'm writing it mathematically, how do I write it? Or I've written it mathematically. What other way can I write cost per liter? We did it yesterday.
That would be the cost over one.
It's cost over liter. Cost over 1 liter. Do you get it?
Yes.
So if I pay attention, so if I write cost over 1 liter and I'm getting figures, how will the figures be written?
To be written according to the unit, the liters.
And the cost, right?
Yes.
So now, contribution per liter, how will it be done? Contribution per limiting factor, how will it be done?
So I think we are going to divide the contribution we got with the unit per liter.
Contribution per limiting factor. How will it be?
Yes, the limiting.
So yes, we are going to take the contribution and divide it by the limiting factor. That's all. Do you get it?
Yes.
That's it. The name. Yes, that's why yesterday I tried to explain variable costs, this, because you are going to use it a lot. That thing, you are going to use it a lot. So you have to master it. So the next test we should find, that's what I'm saying, it's not difficult. It's just in the name. The formula is in the name. It's just find contribution per unit. So simply put, go and find all 1 units. What makes up 1 unit? And find the contribution for 1. So how do we find contribution? Go and find the selling price per unit. Go and find the variable cost per unit. The difference gives you contribution per unit. So the name is in the name. Contribution per unit. So go and find the contribution for each unit. How do I find the contribution? I must find the selling price for each unit. Here, the unit here is talking about the liters, right? The unit is the like liquid A is 1 liter. 1 liter is the 1 unit. So I also find a selling price for 1 liter, which is the 1 unit. Then, or I can say contribution per liter. In this case, contribution per liter. But generally, we don't know which unit we will be working with. So contribution per unit. But here, the unit is specified to be liter. So go and find a selling price for 1. Go and find the marginal cost or variable cost for 1. But for me to find the marginal cost and variable cost for 1, I have to put the components which will help me, aid me to arrive at the marginal cost for 1 together. What are the components? Material, labor, direct expenses, and variable overhead. These are the components which will give me the marginal cost. And I have to ensure that all the figures are for 1 unit, 1 unit, 1 unit. So 1 liter, 1 liter, 1 liter. The same for all the other products. So now I found the contribution per unit or per liter. And the next step says find the contribution per limiting factor. It means I have to bring in limiting factor here. Are you good? So what are the limiting factors? The hours for each of the products from the stage 1. What were they?
We had 3, 2.5, 4, and 4.5.
So look at the page 11. You see it there, page 11. So we have 3, 2.5, 4, 4.5. And we are looking for what? Contribution C per limiting factor. So it means that we will take the contribution and divide it by the limiting factor to get what we need. Are we okay?
Yes.
So let's do that for us. Let's do that. So that's the third step. The third step is this, number 3.
Okay, so liquid A is 15.33.
It's money,
Liquid
so you have
B.
to put it in two decimal places.
Okay, liquid B is 22. Liquid C is 15.25.
Hold on. 15.25.
25. And we have 12.
Now, we are done with the contribution per limiting factor. That's step 3. Step 4. What was step 4? I'm adding everything together. What is step 4?
Ranking.
Ranking. So you rank according to, now we have the product. And of the product, we were limited in hours. So we knew the total maximum number of hours we needed to produce. Then we have to go and find that from all these products which we've shared or which we are going to produce in the next 3 months, which one of them will give us the highest contribution? So we have to go and find the contribution per unit on each of the products. So we did it. We did our selling price. We went to the cost card. What's on the right is called the cost card or the cost data. The selling price, direct materials, direct labor, they are all called cost card. That's called cost card. So we found our contribution per unit or per liter. Then we have to find a contribution per limiting factor. So we have to bring in the limiting factor, which is the labor hours. Limiting factor is the labor hours. So we went to step 1 and brought in the hours for each of the products. Hours for each of the products. The hours needed to produce 1 of each of the products. Then we got our contribution per limiting factor. So based on this, we are going to rank. We will rank based on the highest, from the highest ascending order, from the highest to the lowest. So in all, which one will be the first? If we are to produce, which one should we produce first? The product.
Liquid B.
Liquid B is first because it has the highest contribution per limiting factor, followed by
Liquid A.
the second highest, followed by
Liquid C.
third, followed by, this will be the last.
Liquid D.
Based on this ranking, we would apportion the limited hours we have. In other words, liquid C, liquid B, we are producing 150 liters. Today we are producing 200 liters. Liquid C 100, liquid D 120. So if I have limited number of hours, and of all these four, it is the B which will give me the highest contribution of 22, then it means I have to make sure that out of my 1,345 hours, I will use the maximum, or I will use the total number of hours needed to produce liquid B, because that's bringing in more money. In fact, more income into the business in terms of profits. Is bringing more profit into the business or contributions to the business. When I've finished producing the B, I go and look out for the second one, which will bring in more money, and that one is A. So it means that if I'm able to use the total labor hours needed to produce B to produce all the 150 liters, I'll go and check the remaining hours. Can I use them to produce 200 liters, all of them? Yes, if you can produce, then I'm good to go. So in other words, 22 contribution plus 15.33 contribution, I'm earning around 37.33 for only these two. I'm getting the contribution for just for on one. So if I want to find a total, I'll multiply this by 350. That'll give me the total contribution coming into the business. Then when I come to C, which is the third one, I'll look at the remaining hours used for producing all of A and B. How many hours left can be used to produce 100 liters? Because that's the third one giving me money. Then the D, if I look at the D, if there are any hours left, I'll look at how many liters in D the remaining hours can produce. If the remaining hours cannot produce anything in D, D should be taken out of the equation in terms of the production. So I don't have to waste number of hours producing 120 liters of D, because D will not bring me any profit. Even the profit is the least. So the limited hours of 135 is a scarce resource, and we are apportioning it efficiently in order for us to achieve our objectives. That is basically what we are doing. So the step 4 is we've ranked them. So we know which product to produce more, which one we should produce next, based on our limited or available labor hours. Please, are we good?
Yes.
All right. So let's proceed. Okay. So let's go to the next step. We are going on to what's the next step? So we've worked on step 1, step 2, step 3. What's the next step?
The allocation of the limited factors.
Hey, did you record the steps? Okay, let me help you here. Look at the steps. Page 10. Look at page 10. Stage 1. Step. Can you see this page 10 well?
Please, I can't see it well. Preparation of profits.
Hey, madam.
Prepare and production plan.
Good. Prepare production plan. So that's where we are. So we've done 1, 2, 3. We are done. We go to prepare production plan. So that's where we are. Why the production plan? Now that we've known which of the product will bring us the higher of contribution, we don't need to waste time producing all of them, because already we don't have a lot of labor hours. It could be due to the fact that some people by 3 months' time, they've written to resign. So by the 3 months' time, our labor hours or the manpower we have, workforce might reduce, leading to the reduction in the labor hours, or some will proceed on leave. So these could be some of the reasons. Now, step 4 says prepare the what? Production plan. We are preparing a production plan based on the 3, the ranking. So we have to prepare the production plan. I'm going to have my product here. Let me put down the rank. Or let me do it this way for you. Production plan. Where did we end in the previous stage? Where did we end?
We end
The
at
ranking.
the ranking. So the ranking will come first, followed by the product, right? Then followed by the units, followed by the labor hours, then the total hours. Because these labor hours, you're going to share. Remember, we have limited labor hours. We have 1,350. So you are going to apportion the 1,350, right? Sorry. Here, total labor hours. We have 1,350 here. So we must make sure we are having the total 1,350. It doesn't exceed. So ranking, I'll start with first rank, second rank, third rank, and the fourth ranking. Which product was the first? Per the stage 3 per.
B.
So liquid B.
B.
Followed by
Liquid A.
Followed by
C.
Followed by
D.
All right, all. So how many of liquid A, liquid B should be produced? From the question. Is the first one. So how many do we need to produce?
22.
Okay. So mostly, if it is the first, we'll produce everything, mostly. Are you getting it? If it's the first, everything must be produced because the number of labor hours are more. So how many labor hours from the stage 1? How many labor hours how many labor hours are needed to produce one of liquid B?
I think it's 375.
No. One liter of liquid.
Okay.
So you go to stage 1, step 1. How many labor hours are needed to produce just 1 liter of liquid B?
That's 2.5.
2.5. So multiply 2.5 by the 150. See, this labor hours per liter. Let me put per liter here. So we need 2.5 liters, 2.5 hours to produce 1 liter. So by 150, 375. If you wish, this total labor hours, you can write here remaining. So 375 out of 1,350. How many hours are left?
3.
Okay, let me put it this way. Watch. After the
970.
Hold on. Fourth LD, the fourth ranking product, liquid D, below the total labor hours. I'm placing a line here, and I'm writing the total here. I have to get this total at the end. This total I have to arrive at it at the end, because this is what I have available. Are you getting it? Hey, is it 1,350? It is 1,345.
1,345.
I was using a different figure. So at the end, I have to get this total labor hours. That's what we have available. So that's how we are portioning it. So 1,345. That should be the total. So to know the remainder, which I've written as remaining or remainder, subtract 375 from 1,345. How many hours left?
970.
So 970. Then write it here. That's under the remainder. So we go to liquid A. Liquid A, how many hours? Hold on. So we can do a rough work here. Liquid A, how many are to be produced? How many liters are to be produced? 200. I'm doing a rough work here because I have only 970 left. So 200. So 200, how many from the step 1? How many hours are needed to produce a liter of liquid A?
3.
So 3. So 3 times 200 is what? 600. So meaning we can still produce all of liquid A because we have 970 hours left. But out of the 970 hours, 600 hours will be needed to produce all of liquid A. So the 200 will come here. Then we need 3 hours here. So it give me what? 600. What's the remainder? So 970 minus 600. What's the remainder?
3770.
3
7.
70.
370.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's the remaining left. But then look at what is the next ranking? What is the next?
100.
100 liters for C. So let's try the C and also C, a rough work. How many hours needed for the C?
4.
What?
4 hours.
So 4 times 100 is what?
400.
400 hours are needed to produce all of the C. But how many
Yeah.
hours do we have left?
370.
370. So how do we produce? We have 370 left. So how do we go about it? We will divide this 370 hours by 3 to know the number of units to be produced. Are you getting it?
Yes.
We divide the 370. How? Wait. Okay, 4. It's 4 here. Is it 4 here?
Yes, 4.
So we divide this 370 by 4 because there's 4 hours for 1 unit. Are you getting it? And the remaining hours is 370 hours. And we have 4 hours for 1 liter. So when we divide the 370 by the 4, we will know the number of units to be produced.
92.5.
92.5. So in other words, if I should multiply the 92.5 by 4, it should give me the 370. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Please, do you understand it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we all understand it?
Yes.
So we'll show
please.
question.
Hello. So are we going to calculate the 100 on the 92.5, or this time we are not going to calculate anything again?
Okay, so watch. Liquid C, we'll say 370 divided by what? 4 hours.
Yes.
And we got how many units to be produced?
92.5.
Are you getting it? And this 92.5 is 370. So this, in other words, this 370, we have, let me use another method. So watch, let me use another method. If you remember that, that'll be better. So from what we realized, we saw that from what we did here, 100 times 4 will give us 400 hours. Meaning we cannot produce all of the 100 liters because the remaining hours left is 370. But we need 400 hours to produce all the 100. So, and that's the third on the rank. So we cannot produce all. Therefore, let's write the remaining hours here, which is 370. Then how many labor hours are needed to produce 1 liter of liquid C? It's 4.
Yeah.
So we'll just write it here. 370 divided by the 4 will give us what? 92.5. The same apply to the liquid B. Let's say the liquid B, we realize that we can produce all. We need 600 and we have 970 left. So if I should divide the 600 by 3, I'll get the 200, which is the total. Are we okay?
Yes.
So it means that when I add these three figures, when I add these 3, they should give me 137.
I understand that.
And now the 370, there will not be any left. There will be 0 left.
Yes.
So now we would say that the 370 there will be 0 left. So it means the fourth liquid D, we will not produce anything for liquid D because the labor hours will not be sufficient enough to cover for liquid D liters to be produced. And it's good because based on the constraints of the limited hours we have been able to utilize it to produce, to find out the maximum the maximum profit to be obtained, which is leading us to produce the product or the liters or the unit of the product, which will give us the maximum profit in the order of ascension. So the highest first, followed by the second, followed by the third, and the liquid D will not be produced, and it will save us, because it will save us money than to say, let us produce a portion of liquid D, a number of units of liquid D, liquid C, liquid B, liquid A. Meanwhile, liquid D is bringing us a contribution of 12 cedis, whereas others are going to bring us the contribution of 22 cedis, 15.33, 15.23. So that is the best. So that is the production plan. So the business must produce 150 for liquid A, liquid B, because the first on the rank. Then the business must produce 200 liters of liquid A. So for liquid A and B, all the totals will be produced, and they are bringing us the maximum profit. Then liquid C, the business cannot produce 100, but I should rather produce 92.5 liters. For liquid D, nothing will be produced because the available labor hours cannot meet the production demand of liquid D. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. So now, let us go on. What should we end here?
No, let's finish it at once.
Okay, that's fine. Now we go to the last question. We go to the last question. The last question says, so that we says, determine the number of liters of liquid A, B, C, D to be produced and sold in the next 3 months in order to maximize profits. So we've done it. Are good? So the number of liters of liquid A, B, C, D. So liquid A should be 150, the entire 150. Liquid B should be 200. Liquid C should be 90. Liquid D is nothing. Then II says, calculate the profits that this would yield. Good. So let's go. That's the next one. So it's the profit statement. It says calculate the profit. So we go to II. Profit statements. Now, whenever I want to find a profit, right, we are considering those products which are bringing us, which we are going to produce, because they will bring us the profits. So the products in the order, what were they? Product B, product A, and product what? C. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Now, we are going to find out their contribution per unit. Contribution per unit. Contribution per unit for liquid B. Let's go back to, I think, the second step. Sorry. The second step. What's the contribution per unit for liquid B?
That's 55.
Liquid A.
46.
Liquid C.
59.
Then we would multiply this contribution per unit here. They specify the unit to be liters, so it's the same as contribution per liter.
Okay.
We'll multiply by the production units, right? The production units. How many are we going to produce per the production plan? So how many are we going to produce for the B, liquid B? Yes, from the previous stage, the last stage. How many, per the production plan, how many are we going to produce for liquid B?
22.
Madam.
Yes.
Per the production plan. Just the one. Okay, let me bring it back. Look at the production plan, page 13. How many units? The production plan is based on our available hours. How many units are we going to produce for the respective products? So the units, look at the units column of the production plan.
375.
375.
No, not the hours. Units.
150.
Good. Here. Watch. Here.
150.
So based on
200.
this, hold on. Let me explain. Hold on. Based on this production, based on this labor hours, we've apportioned this labor hours to produce this number, this unit, the production units. So we are going to produce this number of units for liquid. What's the name? For labor liquid B, we will produce 150. Liquid A 200. Liquid C 92.5. That's the production units. So this is what we are going to produce. When we add all these, we are going to get a figure of about what's the name? 442.5. That's the total. So if you have to add all the products together, we're going to produce 442.5. Meanwhile, from the question, if you have to add all the products here together, all these three together, if you add all these three together, this is 350, this is 450, this is 570. So from the question, the total unit of oil is 570, but from the apportionment of the allocation of the available labor hours, right, with respect to the production unit to produce, we produce 442.5. So what I mean to say is, when we come to the budgeted profits here, we are looking at the liquid B, how many production units from the production plan, how many production units we will produce for liquid B. We will produce all the 150. Liquid A,
200.
liquid C.
92.5.
So that's what we have. So these are the production liters, and we have the contribution per liter or contribution per unit. So to find the total, we will multiply the contribution on each by 150. How much would that be?
8,250.
Is it only one person in the class?
No, we are here.
You are not contributing. It seems she's the only one doing the work, and it's become like a burden on her. These guys, I gave you time, didn't join. She's not part of you anyway. She's one of the other students. Yeah, what's the next one?
9,200.
200.
9,200. The next one.
642.5.
No.
So this is the total contribution.
It's 54575.5.
Madam. So which one should I write? Someone should confirm for me. 59 times 92.5. What do we have?
A little mix up here. I'm coming.
5457.5. 5457.
So check the contribution per unit. What we've written, are they correct?
Yes.
Let's verify. The production unit, are they correct? Let's verify the production unit because people are giving me different figures.
And no, there is 61, not 59. It's 61.
See? Yeah, it's 61. It's true.
Madam, shine your eyes. So shine your eyes. Early morning. Why? So 61. That is here. Liquid C is 61. Which one should you mention? Even the 59 you mentioned, it's not even in the question. So how come? Are you 59 years old today? Okay, so it's 61 here. Let's be quick. So what do we have?
So 5, 6, 4, 2.5 give us 23, 092.5.
Madam, 61 times 92.5 will give us 23.
5, 6.
No.
5,
That will
6,
give us
4,
5.42.5.
Okay, so you gave me the total. You said 23 what?
23,029.
092.5.
Madam, the madam who says 029. Are you sure? Now your figures, whenever you call it, I will, because it's looking very strange early morning. All right, we are to find. The question says we should find what?
We should find profits.
We should find profits. Now, if we end here, remember contribution is like profit in marginal costing. Contribution is like profit in marginal costing. We use contribution because it is a contribution per unit which we've calculated for. But then, like we did earlier, if I want to find the profits, what do I do? Yes. So the contribution per unit is 100 minus the variable cost ends here. That's from the 100 minus the variable cost. That is the end of the contribution. And here they find their profits. So what did they do to their contribution to get the profit? They added back the fixed overhead, right, to get the profit. So the contribution we got here was, let's say for liquid A, was 46, right? And the 46, we deducted a fixed overhead to get the profit. So here, back to what you are trying to do here. Simply put, if I want to find a profit, it should be the selling price minus the absorption costing. What's the difference between absorption costing? How do I find absorption costing? I'll find absorption costing by adding the variable costs and the fixed costs, and I'll subtract all from the selling price. Or I will just say that if I want to find a profit, right, it is the selling price minus the marginal cost, which will give me the contribution, minus the fixed costs, which will give me the profit. Are you getting it? Or it is the selling price minus the marginal cost plus the fixed cost. So that when I expand the bracket, I'll get what is at the top. So it will be, the profit will be selling price minus marginal cost, which will give us the contribution. Then the contribution minus the fixed costs will give us a profit. Do you understand it?
Yes.
Please, do you understand it? Because the marginal cost plus the fixed cost will give me the absorption costing. So selling price minus the absorption costing is the profit. That is what we are seeing in the question. Right? The marginal cost ends at from the direct materials to variable overhead is the marginal cost. When you add it to the fixed overhead, you get the total cost. When you add it to the fixed overhead, you get the total cost per liter. Then when you subtract the total cost per liter from the selling price, you get a profit. So it is simply the profit they got here is simply the selling price minus the marginal cost, which start from materials and ends at variable overhead, 12, and plus the fixed cost. So marginal cost starts from the materials, ends at 12 for the variable overhead. Then you add the fixed cost of 24. And the marginal cost plus the fixed cost gives us the absorption costing. So selling price minus the absorption costing is the profit. So now the absorption costing is now 78 per liter. That's the total cost. So taking out the 78 from the selling price of 100, we got the 22, which is the profit. Are we okay?
Yes.
Good. So meanwhile, selling price minus the marginal cost is the contribution. So having gotten the contribution, we will use the contribution to cover for the fixed cost. So we will take out the fixed cost from the contribution so that we can get the profits. That's all.
Oh
Now,
my gosh.
another thing else is so we will less the fixed costs or fixed. Here they said fixed overhead. But here, another issue is this. The fixed overhead has been given for each of them. Are you good? The fixed overhead has been given for each of them. So if you were to calculate for the fixed overhead, how are we going to deal with it? This will lead us to another workings where we have to find the fixed overhead for each of them, for each of the products, put all of them together into totality, and then we'll bring it here. Or we can say less fixed overhead. Then if you are going to find a less fixed overhead also, we will come and say liquid A, liquid B, liquid C. Then repeat the totals here. Let's say 150, 200, because this is the production unit, 92.5. Then when we find a fixed overhead per unit, so fixed overhead per unit, so let's say FO per unit, for each of them, for liquid A, B, C, we will multiply them and put the figures here. Right? We put the figures on the right, XXX. When we put the figures on the right, we will add all these three. Here will become the total fixed overhead. What I place in bracket will become the total fixed overhead. We'll then go and subtract it from what is here. Then we'll find the profits. So that will be the total profit. Are you getting it?
Yes.
Please, are you getting it?
Yes.
Why? Because the question they gave us fixed overhead is 24, 20, 32, 36. And this is fixed overhead per liter. Are you good? But look at the note 1. It says fixed overhead is absorbed on the basis of labor hours based on a budget of 1,600 hours per quarter. 1,600 hours per quarter. You see, in other words, the fixed overhead figure they got there, right? It is fixed overhead per hour. Because it says fixed overhead is absorbed on the basis of labor hours based on a budget of 1,600 hours per quarter for 3 months, right? So the figures we have there for the fixed overhead, it is it's called OAR. The fixed overhead there is called for, let's say, OAR. Are you good? So we have, it is 24 cedis. The fixed overhead there is cost. So 24 cedis per liter, 20 cedis per liter, 32 per liter, 36 per liter for each of the corresponding products, liquid A, B, C. But then for us to compute it, they are saying that that fixed overhead, it is absorbed on the basis of labor hours. So what we need to do is we have to find what is called the OAR. Fixed overhead, we have to find what is called OAR. OAR. So let's try it here and see. I'll finish soon. This one, it will take some time, but I'll finish soon. So let's assume we are going by this method of the fixed overhead. Now, to work out quickly, let me use this color. To work out quickly, what we'll first have to do is to find the OAR. Why? It says it is absorbed. This word, the fixed overhead here is absorbed. So we have to find overhead absorption rate on the basis of labor hours. So it's labor hours. Meanwhile, here in the fixed overhead, the cost card, they've said it's 24 cedis per liter, not 24 cedis per hour. It's 24 cedis per liter. So these 24 to 23 cedis, they are all per liter per liter. So we have to find the fixed overhead per hour. The fixed overhead per hour. And the fixed overhead per hour is called the OAR. So the formula for the OAR is total overheads. Let's say total fixed overheads. OH for overheads. All over total labor hours. Total labor hours. Already, so this workings. Already, the question has given us. Already, the question has given us. What's the name? The question has given us. Let me do this.
You have the labor hours.
Okay, so multiply 24 by 150. Let me see what you have.
24 by 150. Will give us 3,600.
3,600. Then multiply 20 by. Hey, sorry. Hold on.
It's supposed to be 20 by 150, 24 by 200.
Hold on. So liquid B, liquid C, liquid B, liquid A, liquid C. So multiply 20 by 150. What do we have?
300.
20 by 150 is 300. Multiply 24 by 200. 24 by 200.
4,800.
Multiply 120. Sorry. Multiply liquid C. Multiply 32 by 92.5.
22,960.
So when you add all this, what do we have?
Yeah, 3,000 plus 4, 8 plus 2. That's 10,760. 760.
Okay, so watch. Somebody would say that we should go by this method. Since we have the fixed overhead per unit, why don't you multiply by the production units, right? That makes sense. However, the question says the fixed overhead is absorbed on the base of labor hours, based on a budget of 1,600 hours. So although the data we are looking at now is what the current cost and estimates are, but in the next 3 months, now we are calculating for the next 3 months, not the current. We are basing it on the next 3 months. And for materials, labor expenses, the question never gave any footnotes on them, apart from labor. That the labor for the next 3 months is 1,345. So if then labor for the next 3 months is going to be limited to 1,345, then it also means that the labor, the budgeted, because fixed overhead is reliant, or because fixed overhead has labor hours to be its cost driver, or because fixed overhead is absorbed on the base of labor hours, if the labor hours for the next 3 months is going to be reduced to 1,345, then it also means that the fixed overhead will be affected, because it says the fixed overhead will be based on what? It's 1,600 hours per quarter. So the next 3 months, the fixed overhead labor hours have been adjusted. Please, are we getting it? So if you go and multiply the 24 by 150, 20 per 200, this cost data is for a previous quarter, not for the next 3 months quarter. So the 1,600 hours is per quarter for the next 3 months, right? Therefore, we need to make an adjustment to the fixed overhead for the next 3 months. Are we okay?
Yes.
All right. So that's what I wanted to explain before we continue. So now what we have here is the OAR is the total fixed overhead over total labor hours. What is the total fixed overhead? The total fixed overhead, here we are not going to take into consideration all the labor. We are not going to take into consideration only those we are going to produce. We are going to take into consideration everything. Everything. That's what we are going to take into consideration. Now, the total labor hours will be, the total fixed overhead will be 24 times how many are to be produced? How many is to be produced? Like 200, right?
Yes.
Plus 20 times 150. Are you getting it?
Please come again.
Hold on. Let me take this out so that I solve it full. So workings. So I have to first find the OAR because it's absorbed on labor hours. And they said it's now based on 1,600 hours. So if it is also based on 1,600 hours, if it is based on 1,600 hours, okay, if it is based on 1,600 hours, right, we will need to reduce the fixed overhead. We have to change it from per liter to hours. That's what I'm trying to say. So that we can multiply it by the 1,600 hours. And remember, fixed overhead must be the same for all of them. But here we have 24, 20, 32, 36. So the fixed overhead must be the same for all the products for the next 3 months. Am I making sense? When we say fixed overhead, the figure should be the same for the product, meaning it is fixed. But in the case where mostly, let me say the OAR must be fixed because the OAR is what we can use for all of them. The OAR is what we can use for what? All of them. Okay. So for us to find the OAR, let me use this method. This is an easier method. So what we are trying to find now is the OAR. So what is the formula for the OAR? If you're not getting it, when I finish it, you'll get it. Total fixed overhead. Or let's say the OAR is fixed overhead. Over what? Fixed overhead over what? Labor hours. That is the OAR. And the OAR is like variable cost. It's like you're finding per unit of something. So if you are finding per unit, why don't we, if you are finding per unit, why don't we concentrate on the per unit figures here? So fixed overhead per unit over labor hours per unit, right? Okay, so let's go. We have liquid A, we have liquid B, we have liquid C. Liquid A, what is the fixed overhead for liquid A? We have A and D. What is the fixed overhead for liquid A?
It's 24,
Liquid B,
20,
liquid C,
32,
liquid D.
36.
Then you see it's fixed overhead per labor hours. So what is the labor hours for each of the products? Let's go to step 1.
It's 3 We have 3 for A. Have 2.5 for B. Then we have 4 for C. Then we have 4.5 for D.
Now, and we have to find the OAR. What is the OAR? OAR is saying it is a fixed overhead. The labor hours. So let's just take the fixed overhead, then we divide it by labor hours. That'll give us the OAR. It's just like find the contribution per limiting factor.
Yeah. So we
yes,
have
OAR.
8 for A, 8 for A, 8 for B, 8 for C, and 8 for D. They all have 8.
So you see, it should be OAR should be fixed overhead over labor hours. So it means the 8 is called 8 cedis per labor hour. 8 cedis per hour. 8 cedis per hour. 8 cedis per hour. So what is the OAR? It is 8 cedis per hour, which is like the variable cost per unit. So he's saying here in the question, the figure for the OAR, the figure for the fixed overhead, which you've written, is 24 cedis per liter. But the note is saying that it has been absorbed on the base of a budget of 1,600 hours per quarter. So the simply meaning, we have to now compute the fixed overhead based on labor hours, not based on liter. Meanwhile, in the cost card, the 24, 20, 32, and 36, they are per liter. And the question is saying we should absorb them on the basis of what? Labor hours. So we have to bring in the labor hours per liter and compare it against the what's the name? The fixed overhead per liter. Then we'll find the OAR. The OAR formula is fixed overhead over labor hours. Right? So just like contribution per limiting factor, we'll pick the fixed overhead divided by the labor hours. We will get the 8 cedis of fixed overhead per labor hour, and that is called OAR. So with this workings out of the way, we go there to the fixed overhead. Now remember, the fixed overhead, they gave us 1,600 hours for all the whole 3 months for all the products. So we will say that the 8 cedis. Okay, now look at this formula. We are done. Just the last one. I only want you to understand, that's all. Look at this formula. Look at the OAR formula. So the OAR formula, which is here, it is OAR equals fixed overhead over labor hours. If I want to find fixed overhead, what will be the formula? If I want to make fixed overhead the subject, what should be the formula? Look at the OAR formula. If I want to find fixed overhead, what will be the formula?
We'll multiply the 8 hours per hour by the labor hours.
No. Hold on. Look at the OAR formula. The formula.
Okay.
Right? If I want to find fixed overhead, if I want to make fixed overhead the subject, what will be the formula?
So finding for fixed overhead, you multiply the labor hours by the OAR.
So it's going to be labor hours. Please pay attention. This is formula work, and some of the formulas are just in there. So if you want to find a fixed overhead, it's going to be the labor hours times the what? OAR. That's it. So if I want to find the OAR, I'll just divide both sides by labor hours. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Good.
Yeah.
So, and I'm finding fixed overhead. So the formula will be the labor hours. The formula will be the labor hours, just as we've just said. The formula will be the labor hours, which is 1,000. Here is the total, 1,600 hours, which is in the question, times the OAR, which is 8 cedis per hour. That's it. Do we get it?
Yes.
So what's the total?
That's 120.
120.
No, it's 12,800.
So 12,800. Remember, we have to subtract the fixed cost from the contribution, because contribution is like profit and you have a cost. You have to subtract the cost from fixed overhead means indirect expense. Indirect expense. So you have to take out the indirect costs, expense, overhead costs. They are remaining the same thing, but overhead is indirect expense. So you have to take out the indirect expense from the contribution. What do we have?
10,292.5.
This is the profit the question wants us to find. This. So from here. So that's the profit. That's the final answer. So that's the final answer. 10,292.5 is a profit. Because contribution minus fixed cost, contribution is like profit. Minus fixed cost give us a gross profit. All right. Any question? We are done. I wanted to explain something here, but let me see.
We have to rush to work.
Yeah. So that's all for today. When next should we meet?
Can we do this evening?
This
What?
evening.
This evening. Okay, let's see. I'll look at my schedule and we'll look at something. But prepare. We start at 9 p.m. So by around 10:15, we'll be done.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for this morning. See you in the evening.
All right.